One of the mob's key components is creating connections, which they use to their full advantage. So just imagine such a connection being a political figure. The following story demonstrates how the mob orchestrated political corruption. Eric Ulrich grew up in Ozone Park, Queens, a neighborhood that was arguably the stomping grounds for all of the five families. The area was literally littered with social clubs where wise guys lingered inside and out. After finishing college and armed with an MPA, in February 2009, he was elected to a seat on the New York City Council and thus began his political career. Aldo's Pizzeria, originally located in City Line on the Brooklyn-Queens border and later relocated to Cross Bay Boulevard and Pickett Avenue in Ozone Park, has always been an establishment on record with the Gambino family. And it was a place that Eric Ulrich used to hold court, as he's depicted here with the original owner, Aldo Colorde. Over time, Aldo took on two partners, brothers, Joe and Anthony Liverde, who Ulrich became very close to. It was also at Aldo's that Ulrich met Michael Mazzio, the owner of a Brooklyn tow company, Mike's Heavy Duty Towing, a business on record with the West Side, the Genovese family. And in that same pizzeria, Ulrich had a meeting with Borough President Eric Adams, who he recently befriended. Adams was gearing up for his mayoral campaign. In fact, in December 2019, Ulrich hosted a fundraiser at Aldo's for Adams that raised $16,350. The Oliveres and Mazzio had a meeting with Ulrich and wanted his help in getting Mazzio's company exclusive city towing contracts, as well as resolving a licensing issue that his company was experiencing. Ulrich even used his political connections with the Department of Corrections to get Mazzio's daughter a higher-paying job with the department. He also accepted $3,600 from a former correction officer in exchange for getting the man's family members city jobs. In August of 2021, Michael Mazzio co-hosted a fundraiser for Adams' mayoral campaign at Russo's on the Bay in Howard Beach, Queens, a catering hall that's on record with the Gambino family, specifically with Gene Gotti. Besides the fundraiser, Mazzio donated cash in New York City Mets tickets, a 20-game season premium package worth $4,589, and 10 tickets to the Mets-Yankees Subway Series worth $4,975. Eric Adams ultimately became the mayor of New York City on November 2nd, 2021. Besides politics, Ulrich had another hobby, which was gambling, and was a regular at an underground casino called the 89th Street Cafe, owned by Joe Livere. The address is 8902 101st Avenue in Ozone Park, which is actually 2 doors away from the former social club owned by Genovese captain Ciro Perone. However, the way the cafe is described sounds like it could very well be Ciro's old club. Ulrich employed Joe Livere as a part-time aide while he was councilman. On January 5, 2022, Ulrich was named by Mayor Adams to be his senior advisor, where he would be expected to provide guidance on policy, etc., basically giving counsel to the mayor. Nevertheless, he never completed the background forms and waivers for the Department of Investigation for review. The DOI conducts background investigations on certain city employees to identify conflicts of interest or derogatory information. Eric Ulrich was someone who enjoyed rubbing shoulders with people associated to organized crime. For example, he wrote official character letters for William Pazienza, an alleged Gambino member charged with international trafficking of women for Gambino and Bonanno strip clubs, and Robert Pisani, a Bonanno associate, charged with collecting gambling debts. Pisani would later be convicted of a sexual assault for forcibly touching a teenage girl. Ulrich also helped a GOP candidate for the state Senate, Michael Canigliaro, by moving $44,000 in funds to a Queens crisis pregnancy center called Bridge to Life, where Canigliaro sat on the board. Canigliaro admitted to being a member of La Nazionale soccer club, owned by his brother Steven, a Bonanno associate. In February 2022, health inspectors found violations at Aldo's Pizzeria, which included mice droppings, and gave the establishment a grade C rating and shut its doors. The Liveres called Ulrich in a panic. In turn, he reached out to high-level city officials and told them the mayor's favorite restaurant in Queens got shut down by the Department of Health. Days later, Aldo's had a re-inspection, earning the pizzeria a grade A rating and reopening its doors. The following month, the brothers went to Ulrich regarding Fortunato Bakery in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, a West Side associated place. It was also shut down by a city order. However, with Ulrich's help, the bakery was soon operating as usual. On May 3rd, 2022, Ulrich was sworn in as the New York City Buildings Commissioner. 3 days later, he joined Mayor Adams at a Bronx job site honoring Construction Safety Week. The mayor allegedly told Ulrich to hand his cell phone to a member of his security detail and then warned them that his friends were being investigated and that Ulrich was under surveillance. Ulrich immediately warned the Liveres, which he later admitted to investigators. He also gave a heads up to Mazzio. Naturally, he was in panic mode, as this was definitely not the news that he was expecting. On November 1st, 2022, investigators working for the Manhattan DA's office picked Ulrich up and also took possession of his cell phone pursuant to a warrant and took him straight to the DA's office, where he was questioned about Zelle and Venmo payments. Investigators discovered numerous payments made to Ulrich through Zelle and Venmo. According to the indictment, he received upwards of $150,000 in what they refer to as bribes. Ulrich had an explanation for the money and said that he borrowed money from friends. The investigators also raided the 89th Street Cafe in Queens. If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. And for those who want to show their appreciation for videos like this, you can donate with the Super Thanks icon down below or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me quickly mention my blog, also called Sit Down News, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. It can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. I would ask viewers, please subscribe to my dear friend, Pastor Brandon's new YouTube channel, Bible from CR11. He's a great guy, and I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. On November 3rd, 2022, Ulrich resigned from his post as Buildings Commissioner, stating that he wanted to avoid unnecessary distraction for the Adams administration. It seemed like Eric Ulrich was a fast-rising star in the world of politics, but at the same time, he mingled in the world of organized crime as an on-the-fringes type of associate. He's currently working as an insurance broker, and his case is still pending. When asked about the allegations against Ulrich, written in the New York Daily News, Mayor Adams said the following: "I was reading the article. I felt like it was a reboot of Goodfellas. Adams is up for re-election this year."